Welcome back, all you Fabricants and Fleshbags, to the super, not funny show, Supercast. The Supercast, where we talk about all things superhero and pop culture, and that's video games, TV shows, movies, and we talk news and speculation, all that good and nerdy stuff. I am Mo De Coupe, your resident fabricant and comic extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, lover of all things superhero, my good friend Ladi. Ladi, welcome back. We missed you last week, man.
Oh yeah, I was across the world, so even if I wanted to record the Supercast, man, it's 10 o'clock here is like freaking 3 o'clock in the morning over there. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Ladi was out of town, out of the country, and we tried to hold it down, but he's back just in time to talk about all of this good news this week. We're doing all news this week. No main topic, just because there's a lot of crap going on, and we're preparing for She-Hulk and so many other things that are hitting TV and the theaters coming up soon. So we got plenty to talk about, though. All that stuff going on at Warner Brothers Discovery continues. But in addition to that, we have some Spider-Woman news. There's been some new pictures and everything from that. More Ezra Miller foolishness. Marvel, their VFX situation. There's a rumor about what they're going to do about that. So an anonymous actor calls out David Zaslav regarding the Batgirl cancellation. A little bit of news about Justice League Dark that's being developed at Warner Brothers. Who could be the Feige of the DCEU? There's a name that's been thrown out there. We'll talk about whether or not that's good. And The Rock, he fights to keep Black Adam pristine, if you will, within the DC universe. So we'll talk about what all that means. So like I said, all news this week. And so we're going to get straight to it. Before I forget, and this is going to be our first topic. But anyway, Ladi, you ready to go, man?
yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So, Ladi, have you watched Pennyworth? I don't know if you've seen any of that show.
No, I have not.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah, I know what it is. I just
Okay.
haven't seen it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen one episode of it, and the first episode was pretty cool, but it's about Alfred, Batman, aka Bruce Wayne's butler. So let's be clear. Now, when we start, Alfred, and when he first starts in the comics, way back in the day, dude's just an English butler, because Bruce Wayne's rich. He has a manor. He's got a butler, obviously, because he's rich. But over the years, decades that Batman has existed, they've slowly but surely turned Alfred into just a butler, into sort of a partner in crime, if you will. He's the guy that's in the Batcave, sort of being the guy behind the computer, as Ned said in Spider-Man Homecoming. But then it's turned more and more into that he isn't just, the guy that stitches the wounds or, makes tea or just keeps the Batcave dusted. He actually has a past as an ass kicker in his own right. He's a badass, right? That's the way we think of Alfred nowadays. He's not just a guy that serves tea. And so Pennyworth is kind of like back in the 60s or, 70s, 60s, 70s, Alfred was in fact like a guy that ended up being like a spy or something like that. That's the point of that. So why does this matter? It only could because with all the shakeups and everything going on at Warner Brothers Discovery. One thing we have to question is, are they going to keep doing certain shows? And so this show, Pennyworth, is on HBO Max now. And now they've changed the name of it. Ladi, do you know what they changed the name of this to? Just any guesses?
It's the origin of Batman or something.
Well, It's called Pennyworth, the origin of Batman's butler. That's the title change. Which I suppose I get because they're assuming that people are not smart enough to know that that's what that's about. Which, to be fair, there is no Batman logo on it. It just says Pennyworth, right?
Yeah.
But they changed it to this kind of weird title, and I don't know. It just feels weird to me. Like when I saw them do that, I'm just shaking my head. I get the point of it. It's to make it less confusing to average viewers, but it still seems like the weirdest. It still seems like a weird title to me. I don't know. What do you think?
I think they should have said Pennyworth, the butler behind the bat, or something like
Or
that.
could have called it Alfred.
Or yeah, just call it, or just change the name to Alfred.
How about Alfred?
Well,
how about Alfred Begins?
Alfred Begins. Alfred Begins.
Or Alfred Year One, or something stupid like that. I don't know. It just
you weren't born. You were just raised to clean. I was born to clean.
It's you know what? I honestly, it just makes me. If I have to be honest, it makes me think about the misgivings I have about this Discovery merger. I voiced some of those last week with the whole Batgirl situation and everything, but this is just kind of the sort of, I don't know, the sort of decision making that would be done by people who don't fucking read comics or any of that stuff, right? Because it's just long and weird title, the origin of Batman's butler, because they had to throw Batman in there, right? Batman's got to be somehow put in there, even though Batman has his shit to do with the damn series. The only connection to him is that Alfred is the guy. This literally could have been any other spy show. And it just makes me think, like, man, is this the sort of like weird, somewhat cynical sort of decision making we're gonna see from this regime over at Warner Brothers Discovery? Which I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, Ladi. What am I going too deep into that, or is this something I should be? Is this a sign?
I mean, I think I'll just say this. I think DC will be fine. I think they'll be fine with Warner Brother Discovery. It might seem bumpy right now, but I think in the long run, it will work out for both parties. You know what I mean? They're just getting into it, but I feel like DC all needed something. Like they actually needed somebody that was going to actually look over them. Because I just feel like at a certain point, it just felt like they were just throwing everything at the wall. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I didn't like what they were putting out. It's just there was no structure to it.
Right.
So I feel like now Discovery is coming in and is like, we're gonna make some structure. We're gonna put some structure into it. Like, so
I just feel like it's just so basic. Like they're, I mean, I talked about it last week, but their ideas are so fucking basic. Like it's literally the shit that they were saying they were gonna do, before Justice League and Man of Steel. So, but I mean, I'm not trying to be too down on it just because the title changed. I'm just like, I hope this isn't like a bellwether for the sort of decision making they're going to do. Because, like, I mean, there is even talk about that. They're talking about the possibly canceling Titans and Doom Patrol, and so they're doing all sorts of like little things like that because it's not theatrical or anything like that. And I'm honestly, are they even going to continue Pennyworth? I mean, who knows? It can't have cost too much, but still, do they even want to continue the show? I don't know. I think we're going to see, but that title change, it's just weird to me. So, anyway, let's move on to let's talk about Ezra Miller some more. Ladi, we can't. I feel like we sort of predicted that there was just going to be more to Ezra Miller, going forward. Just if for no other reason, because the Flash hadn't come out, and all that foolishness that came out last week about what they've been up to. It's just I'm just like, man, I'm sick of this. I would rather talk about Letitia Wright again than to talk about Ezra Miller, but here we are. So, what's interesting this week is that apparently, in the midst of all of the foolishness that's been going on over the last, couple months related to Ezra Miller, Warner Brothers still managed to find time to bring him in to do some like film new scenes and, do stuff on, as contractually, as he's contractually obligated to bring him in to do some work on the film, even as people have been, police have been sort of trying to get to him. And I just, the reason why I want to talk about this, I'm like, is that like a good sign or bad sign for DC that they're still just like, nope, we need to finish this damn movie, no matter what the hell's going on with you and your legal situation. So I put that to you, Ladi. What do you think about that? They just said, whatever, just get your ass to set so we can do some more filming.
No, they're deciding to go with the movie because I remember there was a rumor of them they're thinking about canceling the movie outright.
Well,
like it was one of them.
Well, yeah. I mean, related to that, it's gonna come in later, but yeah, they're talking about, well, they have three options. If Ezra Miller gets some counseling and sort of does an apology tour or whatever, there'll be limited press related to a limited press engagements or whatever to promote the Flash. Or if they don't, then and they don't do apologies and all that stuff, then they still release the movie, but no press tour or anything like that. They just release the movie, or just to scrap the thing overall, just because how much a problem Ezra Miller is for them right now. Which, I mean, I cannot imagine that they'd cancel this wildly expensive blockbuster movie that apparently has been well received with test audiences, because this ain't no Batgirl. Why would they do that? It seems like that would be, like, you could throwing away $100 million it's not, and they weren't even really throwing it away. They were really saving $15 million by shelving that project.
Yeah, because they can always write it off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but can you write off this whole project?
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff into it.
And it isn't even just that. Can they write off a whole $250 million and screw over their relationship with, Andy Muschietti, who's the director, and the various talent that's already attached to it, all because of one person?
Yeah, it's an absolute mess. I'm sure they're begging Ezra Miller, like, just please, just sit down for the next. Like, if I'm Warner Brothers, I'm trying to get this movie out as fast as damn possible. If I'm Warner Brothers Discovery, I'm trying to get this movie out as fast as possible. Bump with the schedule. get this movie out as fast as possible because this dude is a ticking time bomb. It's literally it's only a matter of time before he does something so bad that the movie might just get canceled. Not because they physically cancel it, it's because people are just going to start putting out hashtag cancel the movie because the dude is he's just an unstable mess. And it's just I'm really getting to that feeling like it's getting to that point that even if they do want to release it, is probably they're not going to make as much money but because I'm gonna just say this, I have zero faith that Ezra Miller is gonna sit down and be calm. He's going to do something worse. And the movie's going to get canceled online. I already can feel it.
Well, you know what? I would like to be optimistic about it. I've heard that their mother has kind of stepped in and is trying to get her, trying to get her child in some kind of, reasonable state of mind and to get help and all that other stuff. That's my understanding of, and I'm sure they're pressing Ezra Miller's agent about it, and just trying to get them to, just as you said, sit the hell down and just chill. So I'm going to be optimistic and say that they'll go get some rehab or counseling or whatever the hell, and then sort of do a image rehabilitation. But I think that third option is ridiculous. Why would you do that? I mean, and especially we know that they can pull it together because they've gone to do these additional filming. So they're not so crazy that they can't just be like, all right, well, I gotta go, I gotta go to work, right? It's just that's the rest of this stuff that's going on. So, I mean, I don't know, but I just think it's interesting that they actually were just like, nope, we're absolutely going to continue to work on this movie no matter what the hell you got going on. Just show up and then we'll be good. And here's my other thing is, do you remember we were talking about this before? But I honestly, outside of us nerds and film folks that are keep up with this shit, who in real life knows what the hell's going on with Ezra Miller? In fact, I've said this before. Who could tell you the name of the person that plays the Flash outside of us? Like, we think that this is a big, huge deal that everyone cares about, and I guarantee you it's not. Like, people that don't follow this shit, they barely know who this guy, this person is, much less what the hell is going on with them. And so maybe, it's not as dire as it's being portrayed. But you're right, they should get it out as fast as possible.
Yeah, because it's a ticking time bomb. That's all I will say. I just feel like people don't know him yet, but we'll see.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time, man.
Yeah. Well, as usual, I'm going to continue to hope that Ezra Miller will get the help they need and, make the best out of this situation and stop what I consider to be the most epic bag fumble in the history of bags.
It's too late. The bag's already been fucking fumbled. He's never going to be Flash ever again.
I mean, just saying, it's the most epic bag fumble in the history of bag fumbling, and it's sad to see. So
the game's over. They're just hoping that he could just take a knee and he could just take a knee and not get hurt. That's all they're doing. The game's over.
They told him to slide, and he kept being like, I can run it in. No, you can't.
Yeah, no, you can't. The game's over. You've already lost.
He's like Troy Aikman not sliding. Like, you're made of paper. Stop that.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, we'll see. We're gonna keep up with this one. I'm sure we'll hear more information about this in the coming weeks. Um, I think we talked before about VFX Studio. It's having a problem with Marvel and everything like that. Marvel's kind of running everyone ragged, and people don't like working for them. Well, I've heard a rumor. Read a rumor that Marvel's got maybe a plan about that. And you know what the plan? And I love this plan because it's the sort of plan that people with with a bunch of money but not a lot of understanding sort of throw out. And that's this. Well, why don't we just make our own VFX studio?
That
Lottie.
sounds like the most money back Mickey thing I've ever heard in my life. It's just Disney, instead of just doing the right thing, they're just like, fuck it. We'll just hire people so we can be shitty to them. Just like, it's just,
Get back to that. Get back to that computer. They're gonna chain people to the Moneybags Mickey is gonna chain people to their workstation.
It doesn't look good enough. Redo it, but no, redo it right now.
I just, like I said, the sound. This is a rumor. I'm not saying that I got any real source on this. I just read it. But to me, that's a weird response to something like you're outsourcing this for a reason, right? You're outsourcing it because, I mean, who got the time, right? But now you want to essentially build a Pixar into your studio to do all your. I don't believe it. I'm gonna be honest. If this is real, that's a gigantic. They're essentially, Industrial Light and Magic, right?
Yeah.
So they're one of the gold standard special effects houses in the world. They were originally the special effects house, and they got so much work to do that they still end up having to even movies that they work on, they still end up having to go with other VFX houses because they can't do it all. And somehow Marvel's gonna build some kind of VFX house that can handle their workload. I don't believe that. Like it sounds fake. Shit sounds fake. That's what that's the equivalent of, Lottie. That's the equivalent of them saying, you know what, people keep fucking up our video games. We're gonna build our own. We're gonna start our own video game development studio. And it sounds really good, right? Like it sounds good. But sounds good until you realize how many people you need to have a AAA studio just to do one game. Not multiple games, one game. Right? And you're talking about over the next 2 years, Marvel's putting out something like 12 or 13, things. And each one of them needs their VFX to some degree or another. Some to a large degree, including that Avengers, the Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars are both going to be so special effects laden. And you're talking about you're going to build a fucking VFX studio in time to work on any of that? Please. It sounds like a pipe dream. Lottie, come on, co-sign that for me. That sounds fake.
Like I said, that's why I said it sounds like the most money bag Mickey thing I've ever heard. Like this, like when you said that, I was just like, this literally sounds like somebody was just some rich asshole was just like, you know what? Fuck all these guys. Just they care about going home.
Yeah.
Who needs to go home?
Sounds like Elon.
What?
Sounds like some shit Elon Musk would do. He's like,
yeah.
You know what? That the special effects on Star Trek 3 sucked. I'm just gonna throw $1 billion at it and make my own version. I mean, get out of here. Look, could be real. I mean, and in fact, honestly, in the long run, I think it's a good idea to have an in-house. At least, at the very least, an in-house VFX house that can, run all of the VFX work, but subcontract it out, and they're the ones that are sort of, directing everything. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
That to me that makes sense. But you're not going to build that shit overnight, and it's not
No.
it is not the answer to the overworking and kind of the exploitation of these smaller VFX houses. That's not the answer to this question. That's a long-term strategy, but in the short term, you still got all this shit that needs to be fixed. And and the fix isn't, well, we're just going to take our ball and go home. The fix is just treat people better and be more realistic. Just that's it. Just do that. You don't need to make your own damn VFX studio that you got to spend $1 billion to open. So I don't know. We'll see. I want to see if we're going to get any real information on that, and if we do, we'll let you guys know. So Batgirl got canceled, Ladi.
Yeah.
I was not happy, to say the least. Was not happy. Still am not happy. Lots of talk about it going on. It's really kind of giving me pause about Warner Brothers Discovery and what they, what the mindset is over there about DC. Because I think we talked before that Zaslav's, David Zaslav was like, oh, DC is important to essentially one of the most important things that they got at Warner Brothers. Okay, cool. Got it. Y'all think DC is great, and then cancel, shit like that, right? Let's write some shit off. And so in response to that, there was actually an unnamed actor, an anonymous actor, had some choice words for the situation, and I thought I'd share them with you. Because I was wondering if anyone was actually going to say some shit about it. So anyway, the unnamed actor said this, I felt a considerable amount of comfort and sincere sadness reading your they're talking about an article they read about the thing. An excellent article in the examination of this whole nightmare. The multiple streaming avenues and their vague guarantees appear anything but secure. I'm very offended by what happened and feel terrible for the directors and Leslie Grace, who were all wonderful to work with, as well as all of the technicians. It was an enormous, rewarding challenge to make this movie during COVID and during the cold weather in Glasgow. None of these things matter to an imbecile like David Zaslav. His cowardice is breathtaking. I'm glad I got to participate, and I wish the best for all those involved, except the suits at Warner Brothers, but they all get replaced sooner than later. So somebody came in guns blazing. But they're anonymous because, you don't talk shit about the CEO, right? I don't know. Ladi, do you agree with that? Do you find anything in there that you agree with?
So, here's my thing. I do agree that the movie should not have been canceled. It should have came out at least on a streaming network. Here, the thing is that, this is just a mess, man. It's one of those things that it's just like, damn, I wasn't expecting the movie to get canceled. I was hearing that the movie wasn't testing well, but at the same time, they said it's the Black Adam, and it had around the same testing number. So, is Black Adam not a good movie?
No, the Black Adam has The Rock, and you don't shelve The Rock's movie. That's just not a thing that happens.
Man,
the situation sucks and everything. I wonder how many people aren't saying what this guy is saying, but they're thinking it or they're talking to each other. Like, can they trust this guy? Think about the situation. Literally, they had an almost finished film with two directors who, they recently they recently just did Miss Marvel, helped develop Miss Marvel. They directed a couple episodes in there. And Leslie Grace is a young but, rising actor, woman of color. And, this was supposed to be sort of, you had J.K. Simmons, right? back as Gordon. You had Michael Keaton, and then all of a sudden, bam, none of that shit, right? It's got to leave a sour taste in people's mouth. As much as I want it, for me, what about for them? People that worked their ass off on this thing to get it shelled so that Warner Brothers Discovery could take a little tax write-off. What kind of relationships are you going to have with creators and talent when this sort of situation is on the table? In order to make your books look better, you basically say all your hard work, no one's ever going to see it. You know what I'm saying? That's, to me, what does that say about how people can, approach you as a company? And yeah, they got Alan Horn and everything like that. But it just, I don't know. I feel like this guy, he's just saying out loud what a lot of other people in the industry are sort of saying amongst themselves. And that this is not a good look for, it's not a good look for Warner Brothers. And like you said, this is bumpy right now. But is it going to, could this long term affect their situation with talent? I don't know, Ladi. This shit sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still feel long term, I think DC will be fine. But it does suck that it's it just is what happens, man. Whenever there's new management, man, it happens. It's what's about to happen with Microsoft with them buying Activision. There's about to be a lot of gaming, because I've told people this already. We've said this in the GamerCast. There's going to be a lot of gaming companies that are under Activision that are about to get cut because they're not. Microsoft wants to save some money. They're not. The projections were not going to be that well, so they're going to cut it. It's just the way things are. It's unfortunate, man, as it sucks because it's like you said, they're not going to release it because they want that write-off. They want to make their money back on it. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. Sucks. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure we have more to say about all the stuff going on in DC in the future. So we'll talk about it then. Speaking of DC, remember we were talking about how J.J. Abrams, he's got this deal. Zaslav has been like, what the hell's going on with this deal that y'all have with Bad Robot? When are they going to make something? We got this big old deal that y'all made, $250 million. Where's the money and where's the product? Mm-hmm. Well, oddly enough, and look at this as in the same way you look at The Rock. You were like, well, how the hell couldn't they? Why did they not do something with Shazam? Because The Rock. That's why. Similarly, why are they still working on Justice League Dark? Because J.J. Abrams. That's all you got to say. J.J. Abrams, he's a huge name in the industry, has made plenty of money for plenty of studios, and they are still apparently working on Justice League Dark. And not only that, supposedly they're working on some spin-offs. I'm honestly surprised by this. I'm not surprised by the fact that they still want to work with Bad Robot. Just that Justice League Dark is still a thing that they are deciding to do. And that supposedly the spin-offs are going to be Constantine and Madame Xanadu that they are actively developing. Well, Ladi, without a huge amount of news on this, are you surprised they're still working on these things? Or do you even want to see a Justice League Dark? And given the nature of WB Discovery right now, how likely do you think it is that we're actually going to see any of this stuff?
Oh, we're going to see this. Oh, no. You don't piss off J.J. Abrams. Yeah, we're going to see this. This is coming
David
out.
Zaslav said, put up or shut up. He said, what do you think? I feel like he's the sort of guy that's be like, nah, I need to see y'all actually make something.
Oh, yeah. He's going to.
Abrams.
Yeah. This is sort of like, how can you say, we still haven't had Superman 2 yet. God, you know, when you really sit back and think about this, I was just talking about this with one of my friends, that DC's making all of this other stuff, and we still haven't had a Man of Steel 2 yet. That it just baffles my mind. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't want to say, because I want to see this, but at the same time, I'm sick of all these other things getting a second movie. Like, can you imagine if the MCU didn't make another Captain America movie after the first Avenger? Like, they just shelved Captain America for like until Avengers Endgame. Can you imagine that? That's what it feels like DC's doing with Superman. I know it's a little bit off topic, but it's sort of like, it's just, how is this getting greenlit and still going, and we're not getting a Superman 2? It just
because J.J. Abrams. That's what, and that J.J. Abrams had a Superman thing going, but it was going to be a black Superman one, and it seems to me that they're like, no, we want they're leaning into, let's go with the classic versions of everybody instead of these offshoots and everything like that. Which to me, I mean, it makes all the sense in the world. You know, get your IP strength, get the strongest bits of your brand and roll with that. But also, it's sort of unfortunate because these other things could have been interesting. But you know, WB Discovery seems to me under David Zaslav are trying to go for the safest possible route. For better or for worse, they are going for the lowest hanging fruit. And in terms of Superman, that's great because we can actually get another fucking Superman. But also that they're not, how willing to take risks are they really on their IP? And I think that they're risk averse. I think WB Discovery under Zaslav is essentially going to be like, you know, Microsoft making sure that, hey, we need more Call of Duties. That's to me, that's what it feels like their sort of mentality is. We know for sure Call of Duty makes money, so make another one. You know? Yeah. And I mean, okay, they haven't really been going, you know, the thing is that if that's the case, cool, make some more. I just, you know, we're not going to get anything new or interesting. So, but that said, apparently they're still making this, so maybe this could be the new and interesting. I am skeptical that we'll get the spinoffs. So I don't think that's going to happen. But who knows? They do have this development deal with Bad Robot, so maybe something actually will happen. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll let you guys know if we find out more information. Another bit of DC news. I can't believe we're talking about DC so much this week. Yeah, and it's sort of good news, I guess. Come to find out this week that The Rock, and he said this he tweeted this out, and just to confirm like something that was going around, that he had fought hard and I guess prevailed to keep Black Adam separate from Shazam and the rest of the DCU. Not separate in the sense that it's not in it, but separate in the sense that he's the only, you know, he's the only one, or he and the JSA are the only ones that are in the movie. No Superman, no Justice League, no Shazam, just them. And apparently, you know, he fought hard to make sure that was the case. In his mind, I think in his mind is to make sure that on their own, Black Adam would stand, so that when he finally does come across, you know, Batman and Superman, etc., he's already a well-established, you know, character in his own right.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. So anyway, Ladi, you hear Dwayne Johnson said, "Nope, hands off of Black Adam. We're standing on our own." What did you think about that?
So here's my thing. did imagining The Rock do this. I'm trying to I'm trying to think of a good Rock
It's
joke.
like I don't need that candy ass Shazam.
I don't need
Shazam.
that. I
Candy
don't need
ass
that
Shazam.
candy ass Shazam. Get that candy ass Shazam away from me. I'm the Rock. Oh man, and be honest with you, I I want to give The Rock a hand clap for that because I love Black Adam. I really love the character of Black Adam, and I do agree. I think it would have done his character a disservice if he was just a regular old villain in a Shazam movie. Because we all know for some reason DC just loves killing off their characters. Or I
Right.
mean, not DC. Superhero movies love killing off villains at the end of their movie. They're just like, yes, kill them for some reason.
Right. Yeah, and he's because he's more of an anti-hero or whatever. I think if you want to have him, he's obviously going to eventually clash with everybody else, but he needs to stand on his own and try. And I've heard that they were trying to like, oh, we'll have him in there with Shazam and all this other stuff, and and having to cameo everybody just to make him legit. And I'm like, screw that. He doesn't need that. So first of all, I hope it's good. I hope this movie's good. And I hope that this sticking to his guns on this actually made the movie better. But I do think it's kind of like, in a way, I think that Batman v Superman it was sort of weakened Batman a little bit in my eyes, or Superman rather, either one. And the fact that they both, there was cameo and Wonder Woman and all this other stuff within it,
Yeah.
whereas they couldn't just stand on their own doing their own thing, And hell, Ben Affleck's Batman didn't even get his own damn movie,
Yeah.
which is weird to me. Like, why would you do that? And so it's sort of, Batman v Superman is kind of really nobody's movie. It's just three, the big three are all in it. It's not anybody's real movie. Whereas this movie is going to definitely be Black Adam's movie, even with the
Yeah.
JSA being in it. It's his movie, and I think that's a good idea. I think it'd be weird. It's still weird to me again that Batman didn't have his own movie before he clashed with Superman, and it's just like you skipped a step. So I hope this works, and good on The Rock. That the dude's got throwing his his big D energy around, and who's gonna stop him? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, and that's coming out very soon. So looking forward to that. We'll talk about it when it does release. And we're gonna talk about actual not DC news for a second. Ladi, did you see that a bunch of stuff about Madam Webb came out last week? Like for instance, we found out that one of the new cast members that was added, Sydney Sweeney, is apparently going to be playing Julia Carpenter. So if I don't know how familiar you are with the Spider Peoples, but Julia Carpenter was formerly known as Arachne, also known as Spider Woman, and she's more spidery related than the Jessica Drew Spider Woman, but she's got some spider powers and everything, and she shows up in Into the Spider-Verse, all that stuff. Also, they revealed that we're going to be seeing a young Uncle Ben, or reportedly we're going to be seeing a young Uncle Ben and young Mary Parker. So this actually is supposedly going to be a bit of a, what do you call it, a period piece, going back before. Like I had reading this, it seems that Mary Parker is in fact possibly going to be pregnant with Peter, and so we'll see young Uncle Ben, young May, and then also that Adam Scott could possibly be either Ben or Peter's father, and then last bit of casting news was they cast what is this woman's name? Celeste O'Connor. I think I'm saying her name right, and she's going to be supposedly going to be playing Maddie Franklin, which if I don't know if you follow all the Spider stuff, was Spider Girl and also eventually Spider Woman. So this is looking to be, when I say that this is looking to be a big spider related, without Peter Parker, spider related movie, they are like, whoever wrote this said, let's bring them all in except for Miles Morales and Peter Parker, apparently. Because I mean, when I heard that they were saying Julie Carpenter, I was like, okay, you guys are kind of digging deep. And then Madam Webb, of course, but Maddie Franklin, like you really have to be deep into Spider lore. The only person that they could possibly cast now would be Silk. Like if they cast Silk into this, or Anya Corazon, which I think that Isabel Merced is probably going to be Anya Corazon. So you're talking about essentially every member of that's in the Spider-Verse crossover except Miles, Peter, and Spider-Gwen at this point. That's okay.
The most popular characters.
Yeah. Okay. So all that being said, Madam Web looks like it is shaping up to be, I don't know, I don't want to call it multiverse. I'm not going to call it that yet. But we know that Madam Web is sort of weaves the web of destiny and can see the future, blah, 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 blah. This looks like it's going to be a far-ranging movie. Are you surprised how deep they're trying to go with this? And, given what we've heard, from these news things, what's your anticipation for this now?
This is a deep cut Spider-Man movie. It's basically going to be into the Spider-Verse without Peter Parker and Miles Morales, and like basically the most popular characters. This just goes back to me saying we are going to get live action into the Spider-Verse movie, and I am completely down for it. So, because the amount of, like you said, just the amount of characters that they're setting up, they're definitely trying to set up the Spider Universe to eventually, they first started it off with No Way Home, and now it's just going to add on. Sony thinks they're slick. They saw those dollar signs, and now they're like, let's keep making them.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think what's interesting about this is how I think how I was saying with DC, they just like all right, you guys are too dim. You won't be able to put two and two together. We have to spell it out for you straight up. I feel like this is the opposite. I feel like this is a situation where they're saying, no, you guys know who the hell Peter Parker is and Uncle Ben and all that. So we're going to throw a bunch of other characters at you, just like Marvel has been doing in their thing. And you guys can, we're convinced y'all can figure this out, right? If we tell you the premise, about Madam Web and who she is, and that there's other spider people throughout the multiverse or whatever, they're all connected, we're pretty sure you guys can figure this out, And it tells me something about Sony that maybe I hadn't appreciated up until now. but I should have with the whole Craven and everything like that, is that these guys are willing to go hard. They're willing to swing hard for the fences. This right here, there's no, if you think about it, why would you make this movie? Instead of making Spider-Man 4 or whatever. Why would you make this movie? You know what? I think because they're like, we're confident this shit can work. We've got all these characters, and we're willing to, you know, take a big swing on some of these things, because we can't just be hoping, you know, we can't just lay all of our bets only on Peter Parker. We've got to do more than that. And Venom worked for them. Morbius not so much, but Venom worked for them. And so the idea here is that if Venom works, then maybe Craven. If Craven works, then maybe Madam Web. And that they're trying to show we are confident that we have great characters and that the audience will respond to them. And especially when you tie all of them to young Peter Parker, you know, Uncle Ben or whatever, maybe as kind of a springboard into the next Spider-Man thing. So I have to say, respect. I'm coming around to the idea that maybe Sony's not completely, maybe they do have some kind of idea about what the hell to do. Or maybe, or it could be that Morbius is more in line with where they're going, which is they think they got something, but they don't. So, I don't know. I'm rooting for this movie. I think it sounds like it could be good. We have no idea what the plot is, but I mean, more spider people than you can shake a stick at. Thank you. I'll take that.
if we can get an Avengers Endgame, we need a Spider game. We need an end game for Spider-Man. I would love that.
Oh my God! Let me tell you, if Madam Web is kind of the jumping off point for the Spider-Verse crossover, thank you. I'll take it. If this is what this is, then there's some evil geniuses over at Sony, and I want to see what they got going on. So, well, we'll see. We'll let you guys know when we find out more information. Save the best for last here. And this isn't as big an issue as it could be. I read this and I was like, why? So, you know, they're trying to find the Kevin Feige for the DCEU, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no one's really said, you know, who they're looking at, you know, who could do Kevin Feige's job, which, by the way, is nobody. Nobody can do Kevin Feige's job except Kevin Feige. But, you know, they're trying to find the closest equivalent for DC. And one name that's been floated around is Greg Berlanti, who, if y'all don't know who that is, he basically is the architect and he runs the Arrowverse on CW. That's right. All of the DCEU that far fewer people ever watch or pay attention to on CW. He's the kind of the mastermind behind that, among other things. There's many other shows like Riverdale and so forth that he had something to do with. But the Arrowverse is his baby and all that entails. And the idea is that he is being looked at to be DC's Kevin Feige, to run the DCEU for their theatrical output. And so, before I say anything about it, Ladi, knowing all of this about this guy, and I don't know how much you know about him or not, or I know you're aware of the DC, you know, CW stuff. What do you think about this potential choice to be DC's Kevin Feige?
So he's responsible for Arrow.
He's responsible for Arrow, Supergirl, Flash, all of that stuff. He's the executive producer on every one of the CW DC shows.
I'll just say I think you could do better.
I'm just saying you could do better.
I'm just when you said that, I was like, I mean, if you're desperate, but
I just want to know if he's on the board, who the fuck else is on the board?
Exactly.
I'm really curious. Like, if he's one of y'all's guys, who the hell else is on that board? Because I'm just gonna say I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't.
Now, mind you, I respect the fact that DC's existed on CW for years, and there's people that like it or whatever. But no. I feel, and look, the guy he was executive. They had crossovers and everything like that. They did everything in the CW that we wanted to see on the big screen. But it still remains the fact that these are TV shows whose budgets are low and whose the expectations are low, and the writing isn't necessarily cinematic or whatever. It's villain of the week and all that other stuff. Yes, he's shown that they can cobble together some shows that have some continuity or whatever, that are relatively faithful to the comics and all this other stuff. Yes, that, to me, I have yet to hear anyone say about any one CW DC show, like, this is one of the best superhero things that exist. Never heard that about any CW anything.
No.
Right? I hear there's plenty of people that are loyal to it or whatever. But I don't hear anyone, saying like, man, why don't they have this guy run? Because remember, it's been years that DC's been fucking up. And in the years that DC has been fucking up, I've yet to hear one person say, you know what? Whoever's running the DC CW stuff, they should be running the movies. Not one person. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
And so this, to me, if this is true, I'm just saying, you guys are, let's just go ahead and say this 10-year plan is not going to make it to year 5. I'm just going to, straight up, I don't believe you'll make it to year 5. This little 10-year plan. He is not Kevin Feige. Let's always be honest, he isn't. As much success as he has, he is not Kevin Feige.
I was the main one earlier on this podcast talking about I think they'll be fine. You said that, I was like, you're much better off trying to throw money at James Gunn. I mean, shit.
Who wouldn't do it, by the way?
Who wouldn't do it? But I'd rather you do that than.
I mean, you would do better throwing money at J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, J.J.
Who will more than likely make 2 good entries and then throw it to somebody else and they'll fuck it up. But you do better doing that than Berlanti, who on TV, the guys, he makes gold. Cool. I have seen no evidence that he would be able to do that on the big screen with $250 million budgets, or $200 million budgets for movies. Not just that, because Kevin Feige doesn't really, it's not just that. He will be masterminding all their strategy, laying out all of the movies they want to do, hiring, getting directors, getting, assistants, get all that stuff. And, what's really important, getting the brain trust together so that all of these movies, all the stories, everything lines up, everything makes sense and works with each other. There's a way that they do things at Marvel that if they want to replicate it at DC, they're going to need someone of Feige's caliber who doesn't just know how to run the business, but also knows how to work with talent and knows story and knows the fucking, the material. Which I'm not saying Greg Berlanti doesn't know the material, but also knows how to take the material and, adapt it, or at least see ways of adapting it. And maybe Kevin Feige is a 1 in a million.
Mm-hmm.
With no one, this whole 10-year plan doesn't even consider the fact that maybe Kevin Feige can't be replicated. No, now,
Yeah.
has anyone asked that question? When you say we want our Kevin Feige over here, maybe you can't have him because he's not, he's special. Maybe he isn't, but maybe he is. Because let me just say this, if someone else could do what Kevin Feige can do for Sony, they'd have done it. That person would have been identified and they'd have been doing it. You think y'all aren't the only people that wanted a Kevin Feige? Hell, Fox, before they got bought by Disney, they were trying to do that with X-Men too, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, maybe this idea that you can find your Feige, maybe that doesn't work out. And Berlanti could be that guy. I just want more evidence. I need some proof. Because as of now, that sounds like a bad idea.
It does.
It just doesn't sound good. So, I don't know. It's all speculation. Maybe they are thinking about it. Maybe they're not. We just want them to pick somebody good and to get on with it already. So, so anyway, please, Warner Brothers, don't do this. But you know what? If they go with this, Godspeed to you, Mr. Berlanti. So anyway, that's our thoughts on that. So, and that's our news for the week. What did you guys think about all of these news items? And did you have something maybe we missed? Maybe you just have a comment or a suggestion, whatever you want to share with us. Let's get down to the comment section. Let us know what you're thinking. Of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. We'll chop it up, talk about all this news. And while you're down there, it'd be really cool if you could hit that subscribe button, help grow this channel, join the Super Not Funny Show family. We always welcome you. And, of course, you can hit that notification bell. It'll let you know when we drop new content. We do this podcast, and we do reviews all week. So check all that stuff out. Leave a like, and just, help us out on the channel. And, of course, I can't do this show by myself. Ladi helps me out tremendously. So, Ladi, where can they reach you on social media?
Oh yeah, you can always find me on my my Instagram. It is Anu Kinihun. It's ANUKINIHUN. Again, it's ANUKINIHUN. You can always find me on my YouTube channel, which is Kinihun25. Yeah, check out my Instagram. I got videos of my time over there in Nigeria. One of them actually went viral, so check it out. You'll be surprised of what I was doing over there.
Did you meet any of those Nigerian princes that want help with moving money out of the country?
I have met. I met one king.
Can you tell him to stop emailing us? Yeah, you guys go check out Ladi's socials and show some love. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. All right, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, thanks for joining us. This is the 64th episode of the Supercast. Come back next week. We're going to be talking She-Hulk, most definitely, among other things. Until then, I have been Mo De Coupe, your resident fabricant and comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, lover of all things superhero, my good friend Ladi. We'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.